Welcome to California 2025, the land of sunshine, dreams, and crippling debt. The legendary California dream now comes with a price tag so enormous, it's less a dream and more a financial fever dream. It's the kind of expensive that makes your bank account weep. This isn't just about rich people problems, this is about survival. Over this series, we'll peel back the layers and reveal why California's cost of living is truly unbelievable. In California, finding a place to live isn't just tough, it's a brutal competition for a tiny, expensive box. Rent and home prices soar, locking out even well-paid professionals. The dream of homeownership? For many, it's a cruel joke. It's a gilded cage, beautiful outside, but costly and confining within. You finally find a place to live in California. Congrats! But the costs don't stop at rent. Gas, groceries, utilities, even a haircut. Everything comes with a California surcharge. It's a constant drain, leaving even high earners feeling squeezed. Why is it so expensive just to exist here? Stay tuned. California was once more than a place. It was a shimmering promise. The California dream meant opportunity, sunshine, and a better life for all. People flocked here, chasing freedom, reinvention, and the hope that anything was possible. But even in those golden days, cracks began to show, reminding us that every dream has its limits. The tech boom gave California a digital makeover, minting fortunes overnight. But the dream grew exclusive, leaving many behind as housing soared and old jobs vanished. The price of the California dream kept rising, with an invisible velvet rope around the Golden State. In 2025, the California dream feels out of reach for many. Sky-high rents, relentless expenses, and a widening gap between the haves and have-nots. Is the dream dead or just different? Maybe a new dream is emerging, one focused less on wealth and more on community and hope. Finding a home in California feels like a gladiator contest, with the prize often a closet with a window. Why? Because California faces a massive housing shortage. Demand is Godzilla, supply is Bambi. For decades we've underbuilt, making homes rare and expensive. It's a man-made crisis, and until we fix it, that shoebox apartment is here to stay. Zoning laws are the invisible straitjacket choking California's housing supply. Single-family zoning dominates, banning apartments and townhouses on most land. This keeps density low, prices high, and locks out millions. These old rules, meant to protect neighborhoods, now just inflate property values for a lucky few, while everyone else struggles to find a home. In California, even if you find land to build on, you face a maze of regulations, reviews, and lawsuits. Good intentions created these rules, but now, they often block new homes, driving up costs, and leaving many projects stalled or abandoned. Now let's talk about the human element in this housing gridlock, the passionate, often powerful force known as NIMBYism. That's not in my backyard, for the uninitiated. It's the roar of community opposition that can greet almost any proposal for new housing, especially if it's denser than the single-family homes that surround it. These aren't necessarily shadowy corporations or faceless bureaucrats. These are often your neighbors, local homeowners, people who genuinely believe they are protecting their community, their property values, and their way of life. And in California, their voices are incredibly effective at stopping new homes from being built. The motivations behind NIMBYism are varied. For some, it's about preserving neighborhood character. They like their quiet streets, their ample parking, the look and feel of their area, and they fear change. For others, it's a more direct financial concern. New, denser housing might, they worry, bring down their precious property values, though evidence often suggests the opposite in high-demand areas. Then there are concerns about increased traffic, strained local schools, or overburdened infrastructure. These aren't always unreasonable worries on their own, but when amplified across thousands of neighborhoods, they create a statewide paralysis. Every community wants new housing built somewhere else. And how do these local cries translate into actual blocked projects? Oh, in so many ways. NIMBY groups are often highly organized, politically savvy, and very vocal. They show up en masse to planning commission meetings and city council hearings. They lobby local elected officials who are, after all, highly responsive to their most engaged and often loudest constituents. They leverage those complex regulations we just talked about, especially CEQA, to file lawsuits that can delay or kill projects. In a state where local control over land use is deeply entrenched, this community opposition becomes an almost insurmountable obstacle for developers trying to build anything other than luxury single-family homes. The tragic irony is that while individual NIMBYs might be acting to protect their own local interests, the cumulative effect of their actions is a disaster for the entire state. It exacerbates the housing shortage, drives up prices for everyone, pushes people into longer commutes, deepens economic inequality, and makes it harder for California to attract and retain the workforce it needs. It means that young people can't afford to live in the communities where they grew up, and essential workers like teachers and nurses are priced out of the cities they serve. The not in my backyard sentiment, while understandable on an individual level, has effectively become a no homes anywhere policy for California. You made it through California's housing gauntlet. Now brace yourself for the real hit taxes. California's state income tax tops out at 13.3%, the highest in the nation. And it's not just for billionaires. Even middle-class earners get caught in high brackets. That big California salary? Watch a huge chunk disappear before it ever hits your account. Compare that to states like Texas or Florida, no state income tax. Imagine what you could do with that extra cash. Here, between state and federal taxes, your take-home pay shrinks fast, making every expense feel heavier. For many, it's a constant financial grind, working harder just to stay in place, wondering if the California dream is worth the price. The Golden State's tax bite is real, and it's a burden every Californian feels. Survived income tax? Not so fast. California's sales tax can hit 10% in some cities, adding up fast on every purchase. That's not just on big-ticket items. Everyday spending gets taxed, draining thousands a year from your wallet. Then there's property tax capped at about 1%, but on sky-high home values, that's $10,000 plus a year for many. The real pain? It's the relentless combo. Income, sales, and property taxes, squeezing every dollar you earn, spend, or save. For families, it's a constant struggle to get ahead, with taxes shrinking disposable income and making saving nearly impossible. Every transaction, every bill, there's a hand reaching for its share. In California, it's death by 1,000 fiscal cuts. Beyond the big taxes, California's full of hidden fees: vehicle registration, gas taxes, utility surcharges, local assessments. These stealthy charges quietly drain your budget, adding up to a major financial hit. Just owning a car or paying your utility bill means facing some of the highest fees in the country. The official story? These taxes fund schools, roads, and parks, but many wonder if the services match the cost. The sheer volume of taxes and fees leaves people questioning if they're getting their money's worth. For most, it's a daily reminder that the California dream comes with a relentless, multi-layered tax burden. Here, the cost of living isn't just high. It's defined by the constant pressure of taxes at every turn. But don't Californians make more money? Sure, on paper, salaries look huge, especially in tech or entertainment. But that six-figure paycheck, it shrinks fast after taxes, rent, and sky-high living costs. That $150,000 salary can feel middle-class, or even tight, once the California cost of living monster takes its cut. Many high earners end up salary poor, living paycheck to paycheck despite impressive job titles. The golden handcuffs keep them tied to an expensive state, always chasing comfort that never quite arrives. It's the illusion of prosperity, big numbers, but little left over. In California, even success can feel like a financial trap. Got a raise? Don't celebrate yet. Rising costs in California can swallow it whole. That 5% bump? Gone to higher rent, gas, childcare, or just the basics. Childcare alone can eat up $20,000, $30,000 a year, more than college tuition. As people move farther out for affordable housing, commuting costs explode, devouring any extra income. For most, raises barely keep up with inflation, if at all, while essentials get pricier. The middle class is hollowing out, with only the wealthiest able to keep up. In California, working harder often just means running faster to stay in place. Even with a good job and high salary, many Californians live paycheck to paycheck. High home prices, surprise bills, and soaring expenses make saving nearly impossible. The California dream? For millions, it's more like California anxiety, where high incomes create only the illusion of security, and the sunshine is just a backdrop for financial stress. California's gas prices are brutal. $6 or $7 a gallon for regular unleaded. It's a daily hit to your wallet, thanks to special fuel blends, high taxes, and limited refineries. Every fill-up feels like highway robbery. Welcome to the Golden State Grind. Okay, so you've somehow managed to scrounge enough pennies to fuel your car. Your next delightful adventure in California expense land? The supermarket. Yes, that magical place where you exchange increasingly large piles of money for the basic sustenance required to not, die. In 2025, grocery shopping in California isn't just a chore, it's a financial gauntlet. We're talking costs that are consistently 15 to 20% higher than the national average. That avocado for your toast? Prepare to pay a premium. That carton of milk for your kids' cereal? Yep, that'll cost you more too. Even a humble loaf of bread seems to think it's a luxury item here. Why, you ask? Does simple food cost so much more in the agricultural heartland of America? It's a veritable buffet of reasons, none of them particularly appetizing. Remember those sky-high gas prices? Well, food doesn't magically teleport to the grocery store shelves. It has to be trucked in, and those fuel costs are baked right into the price of your broccoli. Then there's the cost of land. Agricultural land in California is incredibly valuable, and those costs trickle down. Water, a precious and often scarce commodity in California, adds another layer of expense for farmers. And of course, labor costs in California are generally higher, which also contributes to the final price tag you see. For families, this constant inflation of food prices is a nightmare. Imagine trying to feed a couple of growing kids on a budget that's already stretched thinner than a Hollywood facelift. It means making tough choices. Do you buy the organic, healthy options you want for your family? Or do you opt for the cheaper, less nutritious alternatives just to make ends meet? It means less variety, more stress, and the constant nagging worry about whether you can afford to put enough food on the table. It's a far cry from the bounty of the earth image California likes to project. For many, it's a struggle just to afford the basics. This isn't just about a few extra dollars here and there. It's about a significant erosion of purchasing power. The money you work so hard for just doesn't go as far when it comes to feeding yourself and your loved ones. That California premium applies to every apple, every chicken breast, every box of pasta. It turns a fundamental human need into yet another source of financial anxiety. The dream of a healthy, sun-kissed California lifestyle clashes violently with the reality of scanning grocery receipts with a mounting sense of dread. It's another daily reminder that in this state, even survival comes at a premium. So, you've gassed up your car, you've braved the grocery store, and now you're finally home, ready to relax. Not so fast, because the expense monsters are already inside your house, lurking in your light switches and water taps. Let's talk utilities, folks. Electricity, water, natural gas, the invisible essentials that keep your home functioning. In California, these aren't just background costs. They are major monthly expenditures that can induce genuine shock when the bills arrive. Keeping the lights on, the water running, and your home at a vaguely comfortable temperature in 2025 often feels like a luxury you're not sure you can consistently afford. What's driving these eye-watering utility bills? Well, it's another delightful California cocktail of good intentions and painful consequences. The state has very ambitious green energy goals, which is commendable. We all want a healthier planet. But transitioning to renewable energy sources and upgrading the grid to handle them is incredibly expensive. And guess who foots a large portion of that bill? That's right, you, the consumer, through higher electricity rates. Then there's the aging infrastructure, prone to problems and requiring costly maintenance. Costs that are, you guessed it, passed on. And let's not forget climate change itself, with droughts straining water supplies and increasing wildfire risks leading to massive investments by utility companies, again, reflected in your bill. The result is a monthly ritual of dread for many Californians as they open their utility statements. That sigh of relief when you see a bill that's only outrageously high, instead of catastrophically so. Families find themselves becoming hyper-vigilant about energy and water use, not just for environmental reasons, but out of sheer financial necessity. Shorter showers, lights off in every unoccupied room, thermostat wars. It's all part of the California utility tango. For those on fixed incomes or struggling to make ends meet, these ever-increasing utility costs can mean making impossible choices between keeping the heat on and buying medicine, or paying the water bill versus the rent. It's a deeply frustrating situation. You're trying to do the right thing, conserve resources, support a cleaner future, but you're also getting financially clobbered in the process. The reliability of these services can also be a concern, with power shutoffs during high fire risk seasons becoming a new, unwelcome norm for some. So you're paying more for services that sometimes feel less dependable, all while trying to navigate the myriad other costs of California living. It's another layer of financial pressure, another way the true cost of daily life in the Golden State grinds people down, 1 kilowatt hour at a time. Now, we've talked about the big hitters, the gas that drains your wallet, the groceries that gobble your budget, the utilities that shock your system. But the true cost of daily life in California in 2025 isn't just about these headline expenses. Oh no. It's also about the relentless barrage of smaller, seemingly insignificant costs that add up to a crushing weight. It's death by 1,000 tiny cuts, a constant financial abrasion that wears down your reserves and your spirit. These are the everyday expenses that, in most other places, might be minor annoyances, but in California, they're just more salt in the financial wound. Think about things like public transportation. If you're trying to avoid those killer gas prices by taking the bus or train, you'll find fares that are often surprisingly high, especially for daily commuting. Need a haircut? Expect to pay a premium. Taking your kids to a local park or museum? Entry fees, parking fees, it all adds up. Even something as simple as getting a document notarized or paying a parking ticket seems to come with an extra California surcharge. These aren't luxury expenditures. These are the nuts and bolts of everyday existence, and each one chips away a little more at your already strained finances, making it harder and harder to get ahead. The cumulative psychological impact of this constant financial drain is immense. It fosters a state of perpetual vigilance, where every purchase, no matter how small, requires a mental calculation. Can I afford this coffee? Do I really need this? It limits spontaneity, curtails simple pleasures, and adds a baseline level of stress to virtually every interaction with the commercial world. There's a feeling of being constantly squeezed, of never quite having enough, even if on paper, your income looks decent. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the quality of life, the sense of freedom and security that gets eroded by this unending financial pressure. And let's be crystal clear, these are not the costs of a lavish lifestyle. This is the price of basic participation in society. This is what it costs to simply a normal working life in California. Forget fancy dinners or exotic vacations. For many, the struggle is about covering the mundane, the essential, the non-negotiable costs of daily life. And when those basic costs are so extraordinarily high, it forces a constant reevaluation of whether the California dream, with its beautiful weather and supposed opportunities, is worth the relentless daily financial grind. For an increasing number of Californians, the answer, sadly, is becoming a resounding no. Tired of California's sky-high coastal prices? You're not alone. Inland cities like Fresno and Bakersfield offer affordable homes, real backyards, and a break from urban chaos. But before you pack up, remember, moving inland is a big lifestyle change with its own trade-offs. The dream is real. Just know what you're trading for it. Found your rural paradise? Great, but jobs are scarce, commutes can be epic, and services, like restaurants, doctors, or fast internet, are limited. Life here is slower, more close-knit, but less diverse. For some, it's a dream. For others, it's a big adjustment. That dream home in Bakersfield looks tempting compared to your Santa Monica closet, but moving inland isn't a magic fix. Lower housing costs can be offset by lower wages, and career growth may stall outside the city. Plus, rural life brings heat waves, wildfires, and water shortages. In California, every choice has its trade-offs. California in 2025. Sky-high rents, $7 gas, and taxes that boggle the mind. The dream has become a daily struggle, with even high earners feeling broke. Is it still worth it? For many, the answer is no, as they pack up and leave, facing a brutal balancing sheet. Despite the high costs and tough commutes, California's allure endures. Millions still dream of coming for the weather, natural beauty, and vibrant culture. For many, it's not just a place to live, it's a place to be. California stands at a crossroads, stunning beauty and opportunity for some, but unbearable costs for many. More families are leaving, seeking affordable lives elsewhere, as the Golden State's future hangs in the balance. Will California rise to the challenge or become a dream only a few can afford? What do you think?